Oh my God. That we are good with. Just a second. Mute the speaker. Yes, I think we should be good with that. Just a few more minutes while I figure this out. I'm trying to see why I'm not showing up on YouTube, but I think maybe I am. My connection might just be a little bit slow. And let me spotlight. Everyone can see me. Okay. All right. So, hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Hello to Darshana, Nalini, Vishali, Murli, Ritika, and Surinder, Poonam, too many people, Shamal, Pragati.
Radha Rani ki.
I've seen a few names, but now I can't see anyone so clearly because I've spotlighted myself for everyone. So, but everybody, a very, very warm welcome to this session. And here we are on a fun Saturday night at your end and a fun Saturday morning, early morning my end. And everybody, please mute yourselves. Thank you so much. Okay, wonderful. All right. So, hello, everybody. And so today's topic being these different personality traits that we carry, the different personality traits that we carry. Some of us are defensive and some of us are offensive. Most of us are a mix. However, one particular personality trait is always more visible than the other. If you've been following me for any time at all, then the one thing that I constantly remind you to do as a part of your awareness game is to not run away from your personality, but rather to accept it, fully being accepting of it. We are who we are. However, we don't really accept who we are. We are trying to become somebody different, and that cannot happen by running away from who we are. Yes, we can change, but only after we fully accept ourselves. And what does it even mean to fully accept yourself? In energy terms, as we've been talking about it, the acceptance is not about, oh, I'm this person and all right, so I'm this person, do what you want to do about it. That's not acceptance. Acceptance is all about being able to see the underlying frequency, the underlying energy from where you are, who you are. You see the difference? It's not about telling others that I'm this way. It's actually about being able to see from what frequency are you this way. So that part can only come when you are aware of your energy. How are you aware of your energy? We ask that simple question, what am I feeling? And that starts you on the process. It starts you, mind you, it's not the finishing point, it's the starting point of becoming aware. Is the starting point of becoming aware of what frequency you are sitting in. I always speak by terms of stories. So, and topics also come to me by way of stories. And so I had these two stories that I came to know of and was part of in the last 1 week. And I'll take an example from each of these as to how working on the energies we can see what we cannot see in unawareness. Working in the energies, we can actually make a shift from one type of personality to another by just simply being aware and by working on our energies constantly. So, somebody recently called me and said, all my life, I've never been able to speak up, whether it is to parents or it is at work. I've never been able to speak up. But recently, I had this fight with my parents, and in the fight itself, I was able to say things that I had never been able to say before. I was able to do things that I was never able to do before. At this point, and because I know their story, so at this point the conversation moved to, so who were you before and who have you now become? So there was all kinds of fear before. This was the suppressed defensive self, yeah, fear before, and now you are being able to speak up. You are now playing a little bit more on the fearless side. So when we are coming, and this is, since this is the topic, so when are we so defensive? When we come from a place of fear. And then when we are able to experience the fearlessness, then we become the opposite of it. The word being offensive. Yeah. So we will also go into the definitions of those terms. But at this point, we are actually playing between two frequencies. One is filled with fear, and the other is beginning to experience a little bit of fearlessness. And as she was talking about this fearlessness that she's experiencing for the very first time, she was being able to see that all this while she sat in a victim position. A victim position, again, the place of defense, defensive, that, the world is out there to get me. And now, the more work she does within, the more she is coming to the play of the universe is playing in my favor. So, whatever is happening, the universe is playing in my favor, and you become a little bit more fearless with that whatever is happening, this is the universe playing in my favor. However, as I mentioned, it's only the first step when you're able to ask yourself, what am I feeling? She had done a lot more work than that. And so she was already able to understand and always look within to see, what am I experiencing? This is the one point that I pointed her towards when it came to looking into the energy. The work begins by asking yourself, what am I feeling? But if any of you have done, well, most of you have done my Expect Miracles program, then the entire assignment one is actually awareness. The entire assignment one. So, just to remind you, the entire assignment one is not just about what am I feeling, but bringing the finger within by asking, what is this person showing me that belongs to me? What is this person showing to me? What judgment am I carrying towards that other person? That judgment has come to be seen because that is the part of me that I haven't accepted as yet. And so, in this particular story that I'm talking about, it was so beautiful because there was always this complaint that the father has been, abusive, like he uses abusing words and all of that stuff when he's very angry. And in this particular time, when this person was talking to me, and she says, I was able to use some abuses and throw it right back at him. And I just pointed out to her, which she hadn't seen in that moment, one fact. In that moment, you became your father. In that moment, you were able to experience what your father feels when he is throwing those abuses. And she says, but I felt nothing. And I said, yep, it didn't matter. Yep. Why did it not matter? Because in that moment, you're able to experience what that person feels when they're abusing. Nothing. Nothing big, nothing major. Those abuses are part of their vocabulary. So to you, they hurt. Why? Because you are sitting in the victim position. So to you, they will hurt. But when you are no longer sitting in the victim position, then they won't hurt you and they will be part of the play. That is fine, except that she hadn't recognized this oneness with the person that she was standing against. Standing up to someone is still being done in separation. And so the energy work that I pointed her out to was victory, no matter how beautiful it looks, is still a play of separation. So you have to look within to see that whether I'm the victorious one or I'm the loser, I am both. To accept in wholeness both parts of you. What happens with that? You're able to accept all your times when you acted from that defensive victim space. I am the loser and I am the victor too. So, in this moment, when you're experiencing victory, when you really enjoy, why is it that we want to be victorious? We enjoy the experience way more than we enjoy the experience of being a loser. Absolutely, we enjoy it. The body is here to enjoy that moment of victory. But if you are aware, when you are aware, you will do this one extra step of coming into oneness, coming into the space of awareness that I am both those sides. Not rejecting your loser side, but being one with both those aspects of yourself. So now, in this space, when she was earlier playing mostly in the defensive space, the defensive is the place where most of us will play in unawares. We are the ones who are blaming outside. We are the ones who are overly sensitive about things. Any small thing and the finger immediately goes out. And then from that space, your beliefs are held very, very tightly to you. If there is any criticism at all, you won't be able to take it without feeling crushed inside. And so, what happens then? You get overtly hostile because it seems like everyone is attacking you. That comes from a place of defense because now you're so fearful of you being attacked that you will go out sometimes and be aggressive and be that aggressive person, but not from a place of that being your character, but from a place of deep fear. Even this aggression will come from a place of deep fear. But when you are able to accept that part of yourself, then you can play in it. You can play in it, but you will be able to quickly change. You will be able to quickly look at it and not come from fear, but instead come from fearlessness. Why do we say that you should come from fearlessness? You shouldn't. You don't have to. But if you look within and you are able to, then those become more experiences of yours for tomorrow. That's all. The only reason why we ask you to take a look at your energy field to be able to experience the opposite. If you're constantly coming from fear and feeling so heavy and down and unprotected, then when you begin to come from the place of the universe is playing in my favor, it's a completely different and extremely enjoyable experience. It fills you up with mastii. And so that's the only reason why we say, come towards more mastii. But to come to mastii, the judgment also needs to be dropped, not just that, okay, I recognize what emotion I'm coming from. That's the starting point of the work. So in this place, this person was immediately able to recognize and come into oneness and say, oh my God, yeah, wow. I didn't even realize that in that little bit of a time frame when I thought I was standing up, and I was just simply being able to give this back to the person who's always been giving it to us, that I was actually becoming them in that moment. You don't have to stay there. You always have choices. You don't have to becoming, you don't have to become them fully, but only in awareness can you recognize your choice. Only in awareness can you even recognize that, yes, there is no difference. You are this and you are that too. You are this and you are that too. So only when the person is showing you whatever it is that you've been blaming them for, and you're able to see that, that is when the awareness game takes you towards oneness. And that is where the experience will begin to shift. So again, in this process itself, I pointed out several marks of people who come from the defensive space. They will largely be behaving with the finger outside, and I am the victim. The finger outside will all be about, how can I change things on the outside? What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to protect myself? What do I need to do so that I am right? I am right. And so criticism is taken very, very harshly. And everything is considered as an attack upon you and your belief system. So then you do become more aggressive. But when you actually talk about aggressive behavior in terms of defensive and, outgoing, then the aggression is largely about being fearless. When you are fearless, when you understand that you can move forward, you can move forward in that place. We come from a space of being fearless, being able to move things forward, and then taking the own blame. Now once again, in unawareness, when we hold the frequency of fearlessness, we become a leader. Yeah, we are a leader to help people across and blah blah blah. In workplaces, you will find, the people who are leaders. We call them born leaders, natural leaders, only because they come from a place of fearlessness. They're able to lead. They're able to say, yeah, I'll handle it as it goes along. The one property of unawareness that goes into this is, then they think that the others are not as capable. They need to lead others, they need to guide others, and they come from a little bit of this superior space, that I am the one who knows everything and everybody needs to follow me. Everybody needs to do what I am doing and they need to follow this part. So, from this space, because you're still unaware, you haven't recognized you're fearless. Yes, you're fearless. That is your property. And you will jump into things without thinking, जो होगा हो जाएगा, जैसा होगा हो जाएगा, जो होना है देख लेंगे. We will see what happens. You come from a place of fearless, and that is your aggressive self. However, in this space, when unaware, you will not be able to see each one out there as their own Shiva. And so, this part of that, when you are being superior, and then the universe is going to show you at some point that you are being inferior too. So, when that happens to them, it's not taken on as very lightly, and that is why you have all kinds of sayings, but one of them is like, in one place there cannot be, in one case at least, there's a saying in Hindi कि एक म्यान में दो तलवारें नहीं रह सकती. So when people are of that aggression, then two of them of the same personality will really, really clash. Again, now when you come into awareness and you are that personality trait of fearlessness, wonderful. Half of the half of the job that was to be done, that was going to give you joy, is already with you. The only part that remains is to recognize each one their own Shiva. So fearlessness, but without this urge to carry anyone along, without this urge to be the one to lead. You can easily, at that point when you are aware, you can let go of your urge to lead and be able to see each one on their own journey. Okay, this is the journey they want. That's their choice. That's where they belong. Let me focus on bringing my finger inwards. When we talk of these two personality traits, the one that very obviously used to belong to me was this aggressive, offensive side, and so always out there as the leader, always out there wanting to lead only because I said, no, I'm the best one here who can lead. I'm the one who knows everything and I can lead. And I know what I can do, and so I can do it. So that is why that experience itself, because you keep saying this to yourself, that I know who I am, I can do it. And that is your belief system, and it keeps taking you there. It keeps taking you to doing it and being aware of it, and it keeps reinforcing. Because if fearlessness is in your energy, then fearlessness is what will keep coming up. But when I became aware, it's not that I dropped my fearlessness, I became aware, and then I became this not having the urge to push anyone. I have a role again. I have this role wherein I need to go out and remind all of you again and again, again and again of what your ultimate journey is. For each of us, the ultimate journey is fear to fear less. The earth being the place for experiencing fear, the earth being the place for experiencing mistrust. But when we are ready to move forward, when we are ready to become a little bit more aware, then fearlessness, along with not just fearlessness alone, but fearlessness along with complete trust on each one being on their own journey. When you have trust on other people, what is it that you actually have more trust on? Only on you. Only on you. Why? Because that one same dialogue each time, only I exist. There is no other. So constantly the work is not to have people walk with you, but to keep looking within. What if someone walks with you? And what if someone doesn't walk with you? And when you are aware, it's a very easy one to be able to look at it and say, it's okay if no one else is walking with me, no one else exists. It's only me, and I need to walk within just a little bit more. I see a few questions coming up, so let me take a look at those. Okay. Somebody says, I'm aware that I'm attached to nonviolence as a value to live by. I have become aware of my pattern of wanting to avoid conflicts. This leads to all kind of entanglements in my mind. Do I have to accept violence in this case? Well, here is the fun part, that if you are here in this session and being able to listen to all this nonsense on oneness and all of this fluff on releasing of judgments and everything, it already means that you've been there and done that. Once we've been there and done that, and it's not necessarily in this life, then what did we walk away from in that time? What energy did we experience in that life? Let us say, when you went through your violent state, and you did, I know it, all of us have been there. If you walked in with guilt, of having done this and done that, and you walked away with that as your main energy force, then that's where you're coming from. So that guilt that is lying with you for gazillion years till now is where you feel so strongly attached to non-violence. But when you're able to accept that you are not just this life in a point, but you are a moving force. You are a moving force who's been there, done that. So, to come to the idea of energy, rather than looking at yourself from that limited space that you are in the body this time, when you look at your body this time, then you will want to put yourself in buckets. Oh, I hate non-violence. I hate this, and I do not want that, etc., etc. But when you look at the energy, when I see non-violence and when I see violence, what am I feeling? You are going to be able to walk into that space of being violent with a lot more ease once you've looked at the feelings, the time. So, close your eyes and go to a time when you would have been violent. And you will be shown when you are sitting in awareness space, it means that you are aware of your energy. You will be shown a story when you were violent. It might be, you are shown of yourself as some king who's out there in a battle. Maybe it's a King Ashoka. Doesn't mean that you have to be Ashoka, but that's the reference that you know in your limited body space. And so that reference might come to you. And then walking away from that space with a lot of guilt and then turning your religion to a completely non-violent one. And so from what space did that happen? It happened from the place of guilt. What is that energy field going to still be carrying till they come to the place of awareness of acceptance? A lot of guilt. And so if you are sitting from that space, firstly, not just accept, because acceptance of violence cannot happen if you are saying, okay, those people are violent and I accept this violence. Acceptance of anything has to come from I am this. And I'm not this, but you are not this in this body, in this lifetime, but you have been this. That is the energy that you still are holding. And you're not very happy about holding that energy. You hold that guilt about being that in a particular life or maybe 100 different lives. And so that's what makes you so attached to this idea of non-violence. I remind people all the time when they're talking about non-violence or even when they're talking about vegetarianism with so much of, I'm a vegetarian and I don't kill. And I say to them, no, you do all the time. Just that you don't kill and put on your plate. So even you're a violent person. I don't know how many, the minute you are walking, the minute you are, walking on the streets, taking out your car, God knows how many of those insects and, stuff that you are killing. Well, are you saying that life doesn't matter? Then, well, you are killing life. Only human life? Maybe not. But life, we are killing at every moment. None of us are non-violent. We simply have to accept our violence by looking within to say, I am. Whether in this life or not, I'm putting it on my plate, but I am this and I am that too. I am, and to be able to accept that you are both of those sides. From that space, you will be able to. And then when you talk about, oh, it puts me into all kinds of entanglements, these are games that your mind will play. The games that I am more superior because I believe in nonviolence, and somebody who's getting people killed is inferior, loathable, not to be looked at kindly, etc., etc. The superiority complex that will flow into you is not going to serve you because you will be able to see in so many different places that you are superior and you are completely inferior too. We are on earth. This is the play of polarity. Whenever we sit on one side too much, it will happen that you will be shown the other side. When you are unaware and you get to see the other side, another story comes to mind. There was this one woman. She was constantly in a marriage, and she was constantly being beaten, constantly being beaten. And she walked out on that marriage. She felt, once she started to work on her energies, she became from the victim space to the powerful space. She walked out on that marriage. A few years go by. And then one day she writes to me. She says, everybody says that I'm very pushy. Am I really pushy? I never thought of myself as very pushy, but everyone is telling me that I'm very pushy, that I want to have my word. Now, see what she's done? She's gone ahead and she's become the husband. But that is a play because you were sitting so much on this side, and now you're becoming the opposite side. You're becoming that. When you are unaware, you will sit with those two as, no, I never used to be this person, but how can I be this person? And you're holding some ideas of who you are. But when you work on your energies, you manage to change those parts of you. And so now you are this new person, but this new person in unawareness again. So not accepting of this and not accepting of that. When you are truly aware, the finger will be within. With what question? When people are calling me pushy, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? I'm feeling defiant. I'm feeling they're speaking the lies. No, they're not speaking the truth. What am I feeling underneath all of this? Is where you've got to go and look within. And then you've become one with that one pushy person that you used to hate. How amazing is that? Now you are in oneness. So, again, to be able to accept this part of you and that part of you. Neither parts are good or bad. They're just parts that we play from the frequencies that we are sitting in. Even when we are aggressive, are we aggressive from the space of fear itself? That when I'm aggressive, I'm fearful that somebody is breaking my ideas of what life should be all about, or somebody is attacking me. So I got to go out there and be aggressive. That itself also comes from a place of defense, mistrust, the fearfulness. And then in fearfulness, you will react, your body will react, your body will become probably a little bit aggressive, but that doesn't change the energy that you are. And so to be able to look into the energy only happens when you are aware. Yet another story, somebody, who was out there being so completely aggressive just a few days ago, and being so aggressive, and jumping on at somebody else. They don't do this and they don't do that. And I just said, look within. Said, look within. And they felt extremely, no, no, I'm completely calm. I'm completely at peace. There is no problem with me, the very superficial layers of looking within. Because when you've just simply looked within at your calm, have you asked yourself the next question? Who am I judging? And that person doesn't exist. It's only me. Have you brought the finger back at yourself, or is the finger still outside? The finger was very much outside, and I brought them to looking within about 4 times, and I was just even wondering at myself as to why I'm even bothering to speak this, because it's so funny. Because I just talked about, no, everybody must move with me into awareness. That doesn't play with me anymore. I'm very happy to see people all around me who are still in unawareness, and it doesn't bother me. That's their journey. My journey only begins if I get triggered that people are not looking within. And that has been played and looked into 100 times over, when attachment used to be at play. And I would really want people to move into their aware journeys, because that's where all the fun is. No, let them have their fun of unawareness, and I have my fun of this beautiful space of bliss that I sit in. And so I was even asking myself, why am I even, okay, once and twice, and then for the fourth time, why am I even bothering to go ahead? And the answer from Mani was, because this is your role. This is simply your role, but you keep looking within. Is it bothering you that nobody is moving? It didn't bother me. And so I kept playing the role. And then at the end of the role, that person didn't look within. And I was fine with that, because what are they creating for themselves as they judge somebody else? The mistrust. The universe is not playing in my favor, and I need for the universe to play in my favor. They needed an outcome. No, this outcome hasn't happened. I wanted this outcome. This outcome hasn't happened. So, what can I do to get that outcome? Attachment to outcome, of course. Unaware self, we are always playing in that. We attach ourselves to, this is the result I want, and then how can I get it? And so the funnest part of all of this was that this person kept calling it as guidance. Oh, I'm getting guidance to push you in this way. I'm getting guidance to push you in that way. And this is something that we all, I've spoken it about, about it 100 times. Guidance. You can use the word guidance, you can use the word money, but what frequency are you sitting in? That what frequency are you putting money in? What is that frequency of the voice that is speaking to you, even though you are calling it money? Every voice that speaks to you is not the voice of guidance. That voice might even sound like money, but don't get carried away by the sound of it. Ask yourself the question, what is underlying this thought? What am I feeling when I think of money pushing me in this way? Fear is from where this money is acting out. So, what you have named as guidance is actually simply the frequency of fear, the frequency of mistrust. And that's all there is. Each time a voice speaks in your head, even with that, what if this happens and what if it doesn't? Because when you attach yourselves to outcomes and then you're like, oh, money gave me this guidance and money gave me that guidance to do this and to do that. Remember, actions are not where money takes you into. Money takes you to looking within first. And then every action is okay. Every action is okay. You can go scream, blah, 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 do anything that, but in all of this, the finger would have come within. This is my frequency, and this person that I'm seeing on the outside is me. That person on the outside is me. What parts of me are they reflecting back at me? So you look at that, you accept those parts of you, then the work is done with it. When you understand that, then after that, anything that you do on the outside will come from a different space. It will come from a place of joy. It'll come from a place of oneness. When I say it'll come from a place of joy, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be constantly only be joyful, but then every emotion of yours on the outside, you will be able to be in oneness with the person that you are speaking to. You'll understand that they don't exist. It's you speaking to yourself. Good morning. What is the energy underneath passive aggressive behavior? I think I already answered, because the passive, the defensive or the passive are the ones who will mostly be on the defensive side, protecting themselves, etc. But then when they get aggressive, and then they're going to be constantly cutting and very, very harsh, because they are feeling attacked at every moment. They're just feeling attacked at everything. And so when somebody is attacking you, what are you feeling? You're feeling fear. You're feeling mistrust. So there might be nobody attacking you, but because you are sitting in that frequency of fear, that defensive will go out and be aggressive at times, but it is still coming from fear. It is not coming from a place of the opposite, which I was describing, that I know, I know everything, I can do it, it's my space, I can walk forward, I'm fearless. It's not coming from that space. There is attack being felt. And so when an attack is being felt, what am I feeling? I'm feeling mistrust. And so who is attacking? You only. If you are aware, you will understand that the only one that is attacking you is you. That the only person who's lying to you is you. There is no one outside. But when the outside is an unaware space, the only way that you look at a passive aggressive behavior, if it belongs to you, then this is how you look at it. But if it belongs to somebody else, then you look at, what am I feeling when I see this behavior? That is your query to you at all times. Mima, if the violence is happening between a father and a daughter, and a mother is merely observing, working on herself, but when a mother sees the kid, she again gets into that helpless zone. Well, guess who the helplessness belongs to? But still, again, she bounces back to her work. But how a mother should guide her kid? Acceptance is from the mother's end, but how should a child be taught to accept and release? Though the child has done the children's program of MPFI, so then the child doesn't need to be taught anything. Can you see that the child has done the MPFI program? What does it mean? Did you make them do the program, or did their energy bring them into the program? Their energy brought them into the program so that they would know what it is to be able to release. They would know what it is to be tuned into mastii frequency. They would know. That's it. Now, the child, which you say is the child, and I say is a gazillion years old, has chosen experiences for themselves. They have chosen as being Shiva. Now, when you work on yourself and you are sitting in the space of, I am no longer a victim, I am in the space of, I can you see that in this behavior, we are still seeing others as helpless, or that you need to lead others? Yeah, in this place, when we become aware, then we have to acknowledge each one a Shiva. Everyone is that, simply going through their costumes, their selected experiences, and you are there. What will you do to them in this moment? You can give your unconditional love. But if you are to give unconditional love, who will you give it to? You will give it to both the parties because it is unconditional. The one who's playing the role of the beater and the one who's playing the role of the egg getting beaten. So, to the egg beater and to the egg, both of them, you will give unconditional love to. And that's how you sit in the space of non judgment. The one thing that you can do constantly, and I tell people that while we can't change other people's experiences, we simply can be the transmitter of mastii frequency at all times. We can be. And we move here and there. So, what to do to be more in that space? Put the meenal frequency meditation on in the house on silent. If you wish to do it in your room where the father, or in, wish you, if it's happening in somebody else's family, and then you wish to suggest to them this frequency, it can be put on silent. But if the child has done the program and you sit in the mastii frequency, when you sit in your helpless frequency and you want to tell the child what to do and how to accept and how to release, guess what the child is receiving from you? Receiving that from you, your frequency of helplessness. And then that only puts them a little bit more into their own frequency of experiences of helplessness. When you are sitting in the mastii frequency, when you go and even have a conversation with the child about, maybe you just want to say in the day, I am Meenal. I take energy from Meenal. What will happen? Because the mastii doesn't attract um, helplessness. Mastii attracts mastii. So when you are sitting in mastii, somebody else will come into mastii, somebody else will come into mastii. Maybe those experiences will be over. Maybe. However, the work on you is constantly to look into your helplessness. Your helplessness for a child, and I'm saying your helplessness for a Shiva, for a creator of their own experiences. What the hell are we feeling helpless about? What the hell are we feeling helpless about? And it's so funny, off and on, this happens to me as well. When I begin to look at a child as a child, and then I'll be like, oh, why do I have to put them through these experiences? Oh, poor kids, why do they have to go through this? And then money will give me one tap on my head and remind me that it's their energy field. And that is what wants to go through their own experiences. And the only thing that you can do in this point is remind them, if they want to be reminded, to be menal and to come into the mastii frequency. And that's all the reminder is, that be in menal frequency. But you have to be in mastii at all times, that people will experience that mastii from you. That's what money's guidance to me is, that I have to simply keep circling back to the mastii frequency for that to happen. Somebody says, how beautiful is it when ma'am speaks and tells us these stories, how we go back to the flashes of the situations we've been in. And that's again, we have this to release and how we should look within. And that's the whole point. Absolutely. You know what? Awareness is not it's not a badge that we wear. So many people will say, oh, I'm completely aware of what I'm feeling. That's just the starting point. Oh, I'm completely aware, and so I know. No, you don't know till the finger is outside. The finger is outside on anyone, on any situation, on any complaint, on any bickering, on any bitching. If the finger is outside, you are not aware. You are happy to play in that space thinking you are aware, but only when the acceptance comes in towards you, towards your own self, and you are able to accept who you are. I am that person. I am that. Only then the awareness fully happens. And that's the space of peace. That's the space from where you can just play. Then you can just play whatever is coming to play. But when people say, oh, I'm aware, and then they're still playing in their mind games, then, at many of those times, it's again their defensive stuff coming back in, and they're not looking within. And so, if you are one of those who is still calling yourself aware, but the finger is outside, for example, even this lady, the one who just mentioned about the child, and so she's aware of her own self, but as soon as it comes to the child, oh, poor child, that is the moment of unawareness. And so, what do we do? Oh, we simply keep working wherever we are sitting. As I said right at the beginning of this session, that we in the energies are going to sit on both sides. And we constantly do that already. Even in unawareness, yes, we do that. But the question to ask is, where am I coming from? Do I have attachments to an outcome? And is that outcome putting me into fear? Because that's the part that most of us don't catch, that our finger is still outside on an outcome. And that's what keeps the finger roaming on the outside. When we are able to sit in the energies of oneness, the outcome disappears. And then you play whichever way you have to play. The outcome disappears, that this is the right thing, it needs to happen. Or this is the wrong thing, I need to stop that. Those outcomes disappear in awareness. So for you, you will play both sides. Sometimes you'll be aggressive. Ask yourself, from which space am I being aggressive? You will be defensive. Ask yourself, which place am I being so defensive from? Am I being attacked? Really? Who's attacking me? The finger comes within. Really, who needs my protection? The finger comes within to say the idea of protection itself is arising from fear. So, all right, everybody. So, those are some of the observations. Again, I point out nothing is right, nothing is wrong. It's all about how much we are able to observe ourselves and accept ourselves for who we are. We accept ourselves. Somebody shows us that who we are not, and then we are thrown back by how can they do this? Array, they're that part of you that you've left behind. Sometimes that's what it is. For me, sometimes when I look at these people who are not willing to move, and I'm like, Mani, what do I need to do about this? I'm not even triggered, but they don't want to move. And you're telling me this, what do I need to do? Mani's like, simply just go and accept that you were one of these only. I'm like, yeah, of course, I lived all my life in unawareness. This story is so recent, it only belongs to the last 10 years that I'm able to look at myself as energy. But otherwise, all my life, all my large life, in unawareness, but in the frequencies of fearless. So those parts of me played out. And today, I'm able to accept those who are playing out from energies of fearful, but from the unaware side. So again, the work is simply on me and it doesn't take much time only because the work is every day. And that's the only job that I know that I have. You might have other jobs, but really think of it. When you come down to it, this is the only job each one of us has, to keep looking within, to keep bringing the finger within. Okay, then. All right. Lovely. Any more any more questions? No, I think we're good. Just to ask. There are situations, this is a question. There are situations wherein if there are two people, there are no two people, there is only you. Say one has always been so truthful and honest, and one is lying out of fear and becomes how the other person likes. But then one day, the person who's been trying to be molded to be loved does something that he promised himself for the person he wouldn't. You know, all of this is so filled with amazing words like honest and truthful, and the other one is lying. So, honest, truthful, lies, all of these are simply just belonging to each person. I always remind everybody that wherever you sit, you might have a lie and you might have a truth. Yeah. There is nobody else that you are lying to. You're simply lying to yourself. That's it. That's the only truth, that you are not lying to anyone. When you say, and I'll tell you the lie in this, the starting point of this is a lie. Because the starting point of this line is if there are two persons, that's a lie. But it's not a lie depending on where you sit. To me, it's a lie that there are two persons. I just said there is no other. There is only you and your reflection. And now you're telling me there are two people. So from where I sit, what would I call this whole thing? I would call it a lie. But in your space, it's not a lie. So can you see? My truth and your truth are different. So wherever we are starting to judge truths, we simply have to look within again, saying that person has their own truth, and it is my judgment that they are lying or I'm lying. I have my own truth, and they have their own truth, and that is the only space of judgment. Will we judge? Yeah, maybe we will. However, the minute we come to this understanding that there is no single truth, every truth belongs to your energy field. So the truth for me is there is no other. The truth for you is there are two people. That's your truth. And it clashes with my truth. So you are lying. But are you really lying? I'm simply showing you the situation to see how every person's truth might be different. And if you are the one who's pretending, then who are you lying to? There's only you. If somebody else is pretending, then the question you got to ask yourself is, when somebody else is pretending, A, what am I feeling? And B, what part of my pretensive self are they showing to me? Because they are your reflection. And so the work is always only within. What this relationship, what are the roles that you gave to each other? Get off the role marker. Get into the energy space with these two questions. If you've done, if you've done the Expect Miracle program, assignment number 1, done fully, the judgments part of it and the emotion parts of it will show you awareness. It's so amazing that the first assignment itself actually is all that you need to have fully a space of awareness of who you are. And then by the time you come to assignment number 3, which is what I call those 1, 2, 3 are the daily exercises that you do. If you've done Expect Miracles, I think you have. So from that space, by the time you come to gratitude for that person, it's simply for showing to you who you are, the parts of you that are unseen, that they are showing to you. So your pretensive parts or their pretensive parts, whatever it is, the judgments that you are holding, and the releasing of those judgments is where the work is. The way you say it, my stomach hurts from laughter. I just love the way you said. Okay then, see, तुम्हारा झूठ अभी एकदम immediately पकड़ते हुए ऐसा. Just wanted to share that last night when I played the meditation before sleeping, I heard Mee's voice and suddenly started hearing Manipa and Mima together, like they were both trying to help me sleep through the meditation. Thank you so much, Mima, and thank you, Mai. Wonderful, fabulous. All right then. Take a deep breath in and exhale. So, in context um, with today's webinar topic, oh my God, this is hilarious that I forget the topic right now. After doing, oh, this is so hilarious. Yeah, this is so hilarious. And after doing a whole 40 minutes of Gyanbazi on a topic, I'm so blank that I forgot what the topic is. Offensive or defensive. So, in context with today's topic, the first question to ask yourself: where do you sit most of the times? With the finger outside, with mistrust, with fear? Those are the earth frequencies. And so, if that's the answer, defensive. With finger on the inside, looking at yourself as the doer. Actually, no, not the finger on the inside, but looking at yourself as the doer, as the one who knows what to do, as the one who can act fearlessly, the offensive. And now, because so many of you have been on this awareness journey, so you might be able to recognize yourself as the doer with awareness of Shiva in everyone, or yourself as the one who is normally sitting in victim space, but now working to accept those parts of it. But right now, as we sit today, simply to accept yourself as who you are. And everything in the present moment as who you are includes every place that you have been through. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale and as you take the next breath in, I take energy from Meena. I am Meena. Looking at all the places that might appear to you right now in your thoughts, of the places where you have acted as a victim, where you have acted as a victim. Go through some of those places where you felt that the universe was not in your favor. Those places where you had to fight back. Those places where you had to stand up because the world was out there attacking you, attacking your beliefs, attacking your identity. Go to all of those places, or at least whatever comes to mind right now. Focus on that. And then I take energy from Meenal. And you, as the person that you are in this moment right now, the Meenal that you are in this moment, walk up to yourself, your victim state self, your defensive self. Walk up and simply hug them. Give them a huge hug, a big hug. Those are the experiences that you had come for on earth. And so, those are the experiences that are now playing out or have played out. And now, those are the experiences that have come for acceptance. Yes, this is me. This is me. This passive, defensive self, knowing that no one can be trusted, is me. It's a me that I accept. I accept that this is part of me. I love myself unconditionally, irrespective of this role that I have played for myself. And so that hug is completely without conditions, not even with the condition to change that I am no longer going to be the victim. No, no condition to change. But in this moment, just simply unconditional love to that part of you. This was a role we had to play, and we created our experiences as such. We created. I created. I create all my experiences. Putting the finger on yourself as the creator. I am the creator of every experience of a frequency called mistrust. I am the creator of a frequency called fear. I am this powerful creator. And I chose to create mistrust and fear. And so those played out. And I now know that I have choices of creation because I am the creator. I am this powerful creator. I can create more fear and more mistrust. And I can also create more trust, more fearlessness. I am the creator as I choose. I know I can choose ease and grace. And for that, I will choose mostly fearlessness, mostly trust on myself. And from that space, there is no other, only trust. I vibrate into the universe. I trust all that is around me. That is my vibration. I am fearless for all that is around me. That is my vibration. I love myself unconditionally. I know that the victim state is simply a role, and I am powerful to be able to create another role. I am powerful. And from all the places now where you might have acted from the fearless space, acted from the fearless space. Go into some of those instances where you acted from fearless. To walk in over there and to hug that part of you which is fearless. Without conditions that you have to stay fearless. No, sometimes you might even get to experience the fearful. It's just an experience. It is okay to experience every experience. And so we will not label it as the thing to be. These are just experiences. So a hug that goes out unconditionally to whoever you are, whoever you have been, whether aggressive, overly fearless, a hug to you without any conditions of you staying that way. I accept these beautiful parts of me because they are indeed beautiful. But I also allow myself to experience the opposite at times. It is okay. I'm still powerful to change those experiences when I get into a fearful state. It is still just an experience, and it is okay. Accepting your fearless paths and also allowing yourself to be fearful just for the sake of an experience. In this fearless space where you feel the need to lead, to show anyone the path, in this space, allowing yourself to witness each one as a Shiva. Allow that. Bring yourself to this awareness that I am powerful and so is everyone else. There is no urge anymore to lead, simply to be in this space. No one is quite helpless. No one is quite fearful. They are acting out those roles. They are playing out those places. And they will come to the same space as and when they wish to. Why? Because they too are Shiva. So, honoring anyone around that you felt the need to lead, that you felt that they are lost, they need to be held, simply letting go of that idea because no one is lost. Each one a powerful Shiva. Accept everyone around you in your workplace, at your home, around you as Shiva. Both of these parts, the aggressive and the defensive, are you because both of these are simply plays of energy, fearless or fearful. And both of these are simply frequencies. Even if you are sitting in unaware fearfulness, it is okay, because now you know that you can look within and shift. If you are living in the space of fearlessness right now, it is okay, because you can look at others and see the Shiva in them. Whoever you are in this moment, simply a place of unconditional love. I love myself unconditionally. I am Shiva, and all my reflections are Shiva too. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani. So, a lot of introspection into this particular meditation, wherever we wish to sit, wherever we are sitting. It's a constant journey, minute to minute. The only reminders that I constantly harp on is be aware. So that's the only thing that will take you into a space of bliss at all times, when you are aware. 2 steps to that awareness: what am I feeling? And what is this person outside reflecting of me? 2 steps. Okay, everybody, lots and lots of love. Thank you so much for everyone being there for this session. And thank you, everyone. Lots and
Thank you,
lots of
Mom.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ma. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.